Cheryl from Warren Newport Public Library. Welcome to another episode of Kids in the Kitchen. Today we're going to make chocolate covered cherry brownies. This particular recipe comes from the Ultimate Shortcut Cookie Book. Now this cookbook is available at the library. It happens to be from the vault or the teen area. You can always go in there and get any of those books just like you can in any other part of the library. So stop in, check it out, and have a look. Before we get started, there's a few things you need to do. Make sure your work areas are clean, your hands are washed, and if you have long hair, please pull it back. All right, some of the ingredients in today's recipe is a brownie mix, butter, which we're going to melt, almond extract, 2 eggs, chocolate chips, Marshino cherries, and powdered sugar. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to melt our butter, and we're going to melt 8 tablespoons, which is 1 stick. So if you're looking at butter on the side, there's always measurements if you need less than 8 tablespoons. But since we need this whole 8 tablespoons, we are going to just take it out of the package and melt it in the microwave. So I've melted my butter, and I'm going to bring you a little closer so you can see what we're doing next. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to drain and chop our Marshino cherries. So I'm just going to, this is a strainer and just a bowl. I'm going to dump them in. Because we're going to use some of the cherry liquid later, we need to have it dumped out. There's 1, there's 2. Oops, get back in there. Okay. So we're going to let them drain for a few minutes. And then we're going to put them on this cutting board and we're going to chop them up. Just like this. Put this on the side because we're going to need that a little bit later. All right, so I'm just using a knife. You probably could also, these are just roughly chopped. You could also use a scissors, like a kid's scissors or a cooking scissors, whatever works for you. We're going to add these with the brownie mix. And some eggs and some cherry juice. And we'll do it together as we go. Alrighty, my cherries are coarsely chopped, so I'm going to put them in my mixing bowl. Just like that. You really can't do it wrong. However you did it is just perfect. Okay. Now we're going to add our butter, our melted butter. Remember, 8 tablespoons. In it goes. This is really a good time to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And these brownies today, we're going to make in a 9 by 13 pan, so it's going to make a lot of brownies. So to this, we added our butter, and we're going to add 1/4 cup of our cherry liquid. So this is 1/4 cup. I'm just going to fill it up and dump it in. $1/4 cup, and it goes. Alrighty. Next, we're going to put in our eggs. Well, let's give it a good stir first. We're going to give it a good stir. And now we're going to add our eggs in our brownie mix. 2 eggs, 1, and 2. And here's our brownie mix. There it comes. You can use any kind of brownie mix you want. We're also going to add a half a teaspoon of almond extract. It's just a flavoring. Okay, now we're going to give it a good stir. Oh, it smells so good. I love Marshino cherries and almond together. It's very, very flavorful. And my oven is preheating. We're going to put a glaze on these after they're baked, but we need to make sure that they're totally cool before we do that. If you put something on, a glaze on a hot brownie, the glaze will just run right off. Okay, look at that. Looks good. Cherries mixed in really well. We're also going to add, before we put it in the pan, 1.5 cups of chocolate chips. Now, although the recipe says to add the cherries after we mix the other, I don't think it really matters. Just do it whatever way you want. I'm just adding the chips at the end. 1.5 cups. Oh, that's telling me my oven is ready. So there's 1 cup and a 1/2 cup. We'll just give these a quick stir. Just like that. And everything is mixed up really well. Looks good. All right, I'm going to set this on the side for a minute because I need to spray my pan. And I'm using just a aerosol oil spray, like Pam or whatever kind. Okay, that's done. Now we're going to spread it in the pan. Turn my pan, I think, this way so you can see better. Just like that. Oh, it smells so good. Alrighty. So now I'm going to take a spatula or a rubber scraper, what people call them different things. right rubber spatula. Spread it out. All right, now I'm going to put this in the oven for 28 to 30 minutes. You can take a toothpick like 2 inches from the side to see if it's done. Don't overbake it, or sometimes I use a knife to see if the knife comes out clean. So I'll see you in a little while. Remember too, once you take it out of the oven, you need to let it cool. So I would say, I have a heavy pan, so I'm going to let it cool from like 30 minutes probably before I make the glaze to put on it. So I'll see you in a bit. Hello friends, welcome back. Our brownies are baked and cooled. So now we're going to make the glaze that goes on the top. So if you remember in the beginning, I said a stick of butter has 8 tablespoons. There's markings. And for this glaze, we need half of a stick, a 1/4 cup of butter that we're going to melt. So melt your butter. So our butter is melted. And I'm going to add our 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. Just like that. I like to use a whisk to mix this up. And we're going to add some cherry liquid. They say it's cherry juice, but it's really not cherry juice. We're going to add 2 teaspoons. And then we're going to add more as we need to because we want a glaze consistency. So if it's not thin enough, we'll just keep adding the cherry liquid. See, it looks a little bit thick yet, so we'll add more cherry juice. I think I'll add 2 more. There we go, that's a little better. It's better, but not liquidy enough for me. So I'm going to add another teaspoon. Oh, that's much better. See, it kind of, I want a little more. I like things very, like drippy almost. Now, because this isn't drippy enough for me, and I've added pretty much as much cherry juice as I want to, I might put in a teaspoon of hot water. Yeah, that's better. Kind of goopy like. All right, I think we're ready to put this on our brownies. There we go. So we'll just kind of goop it on. Again, you can't really do this wrong. A glaze, this is like the consistency of like what you'd find on cinnamon buns or something like that. Now remember, you have to totally cool your brownies or it'll just like melt. Looks wonderful. go. Looks great. All right, should we cut a piece? I'm going to pull it back a little bit. Put my plate out here. There we go. Doesn't that look good? Looks wonderful. I hope you enjoyed these today. Stop by the library and check out some of our other cookbooks. I'll see you soon. See you next time. Bye-bye.